Hey everybody, Eric here for the weekly news from 6th to the 12th of June 2022. Sorry we're getting started a little bit late. It's been a bit messy trying to get all of the stuff together for for this stream. Because if you didn't know, there's a lot of fucking game shows on in the last week. Game showcases rather. So there's a lot of games to talk about, and I was trying to think of the best way to actually put them all together. And I couldn't think of a good one, so yeah, this is going to be a bit of a mess. But anyway, bear with. We'll get started. Also, before we get started, at time of recording, or at time of streaming rather, or time recording if you're watching the VOD, the Xbox show hasn't gone on yet. So I'm streaming this middle of Sunday. It won't be on until later on today. So I haven't seen that yet, so there's not going to be anything about that in this show. You'll have to wait until next week, or hang about and I'll be streaming it later so we can watch it then. Anyway, properly get to the news now, this time. For really reals. Okay, so Summer Game Fest, or the Jeff Show, would have been first up to show off some stuff. So the first thing they showed off was Guile gameplay from Street Fighter 6. So, hey Melwin, how's it going? How you getting on? So they showed off a bit of Guile. He kind of looks like every boomer American dad at this point, because he's got a big goatee. Not the hair, obviously. He's not bald yet. God, he's hench. Look at those shoulders, ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, Guile will be in Street Fighter 6. He looks pretty cool. He still plays pretty well. He's still got the Street Fighter 5 V trigger attacks. Made it to the coffee shop before it started to rain. Good stuff. So you can hang out there now until it stops. Street Fighter 6 is turning out to look pretty good. Anyone who I follow who has been playing it or has had a chance to get early builds and stuff are like, yeah, this is going to be a good one. So something to look for. Fortunately, won't be able to play it with anybody, but there's that. They showed off a game called Aliens Dark Descent. We don't know too much about it because it was a CG thing, but it is going to be an Aliens Marines type deal. We got a deeper look into the Callisto Protocol, so they showed off a bit of gameplay for it. So actual first shots of actual gameplay for the Callisto Protocol. Reminder, it's a horror game. There's going to be gore. There's going to be horrible shit happening. But yeah, so far, so very Dead Space. You know, it's meant to be a spiritual successor to Dead Space, and yeah, that's a Dead Space. We're looking at a Dead Space right there. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to the more combat-y sections. So the gun is very slow firing. You're gonna be, a little bit. You're gonna have to pick your targets. But there is dismemberment, like there was in the original Dead Spaces. Melee combat, which wasn't really a focus, but you do have what I can only describe as like an electric club thing on your back. There's also dodging. You saw a little bit of it there. Maybe I skipped back too far. But you can see that there is a kind of melee dodge mechanic. You'll see it here as he just jukes to the side there. Sure how that plays out. Is that timed? Is there an actual dodge button like there is in Resident Evil Nemesis? Dunno. Maybe. And the stomp. Of course, the stomp makes a return. Or not a return. Keep saying return. It's meant to be a spiritual successor. But they showed off. That's a bit of the med bay, and then they showed off a bit of the engineering. So we're a bit more tooled up. We're fully armored now. Plenty of guns on the hips. Plenty of things just projectile vomiting at us. And I'm going to stop there because the rest of it gets very fucking gory and I don't want to get demonetized for that. Something about Call of Duty. Nobody cares. Flashback. If you are mega old, you may remember the original Flashback, which was a side-scrolly adventure shooter type thing. Very old. Very, very old. You can see it in the... hang on. You can kind of see it in the background here. 30 years later. Okay, so you can see it. Does this look familiar? Over on the left, the guy walking with the blue trousers and the brown jacket. If that looks familiar to you, that was Flashback. And now Flashback 2. We're not getting a whole lot of gameplay from it because they're being very shy about showing it off. But yeah, that's a thing apparently. Witchfire World. It was just Witchfire. Oh, okay. It's called Witchfire World. I thought it was just called Witchfire. It's got a bit of a Doom Serious Sam feel to it. Skip. So it's like it's very open, lots of enemies at once, which is why I'm getting the Serious Sam vibe to it. But then it's also like demons and very fast paced. Lots of different guns to shoot. Sorry, to shoot, obviously, but to swap between. The aim down sights is obviously not Doom. But yeah, it's kind of guns, but also medieval times, but also demons. I don't know. Seems interesting. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a witchfire whenever it comes out. Fort Solus looks like my kind of jam. It looks like a Foley Fables entry. It's spooky shit in space, very narrative focused. It's got pretty decent voice cast pedigree. We've got Troy Baker, fresh off from shilling his NFTs, but we also have Arthur Morgan's voice actor, whose name I forget. So Red Dead Redemption 2 voice actor, Melvin. Arthur Morgan's voice actor, if you remember his name, he is also in this. I think there are 2 playable characters. I think you swap between them. But yeah, spooky shit in space. You know, you won't get too much of it from this video because I have it muted. But yeah, something to look out for. Routine that they don't have a trailer for in this article, which would have been nice, but they don't. You don't know his name. Okay, that's fine. But he's in it anyway. Routine. So Routine is an interesting one because it was... Let's just call him Arthur. That's fair enough. Sure. Routine's a bit of an interesting one. So it is a first-person horror shooter kind of thing. You are stranded on like a fairly 80s looking space station, and shit has gone wrong. You know, another entry in the Spooky Shit in Space series. But Routine is an interesting one because it was announced more than 10 years ago, like a long ass time ago now, and we pretty much had assumed that it was abandoned. You know, they lost funding, or you know, they just stopped bothering with it. But no, it's back. So you've got this very, very pretty. I mean, it's grungy as fuck, but you know, it's incredibly well realized, very realistic looking setup. It's obviously very old. You can see very chunky monitors. Even your gun is chunky as shit. You're not getting the audio obviously, but it's got like really like clunk to everything. It's great. But the real issue in Routine is that there are robots, and the robots don't like you, and they have a horrible mouth that opens from like all the way back here. Well, I mean, your mouth opens from all the way back here, but there's no flesh on it, so you can't hide it. So they got to really... I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, it looks spooky and cool, but it's not coming out for ages. And The Rock did something for Black Adam. Load of ads for no reason. Follow up to Blizzard's old RTSs from a new studio who said, we don't like what Blizzard's doing anymore, so we're gonna jump ship. Highwater World was meh. Okay, American Arcadia, we got a bit more of a look at this. So this is from the developers of Call of the Sea. And basically you can see here in the background, there are 2 people on screen. You play as the one on the left. So the way the game works is it's pretty much the Truman Show. And you are informing this guy on the right that the ratings for his character are dropping down and the show is planning to kill him off. And you're trying to basically help him escape. So there's not much gameplay in this trailer. There was another trailer that on another show, because there were many shows this week that showed off a bit more of the gameplay. But basically you're presented camera feeds for the show and you are giving directions to this guy on how to escape, like wait here, or let me open this door for you, or something like that. So you'll get like different camera feeds to try and help him escape and get out of American Arcadia, or just Arcadia, the name of the city. You can see him in the bottom right there trying to stealth his way past, and they obviously figure that out, and shenanigans happen. So there's a bit of this first person mode is most of the game, where you are playing as this person trying to help him find his way out of Arcadia. But there's more stuff where you're like having to skulk around and access different computers and that kind of thing. So it might be an interesting one. Goat Simulator 3, they decided to skip Goat Simulator 2 for some reason, but they're Goat Simulator 3. Marvel's Midnight Suns showed off that the Spider Bros are also going to be joining it. So Venom, it seems it will be a villain. So here he is tracked down by Lilith and turned into Demon Venom. Spider-Man will also be joining as a hero. So that's all that trailer showing off. Spider-Man gets some new fancy armor. Wonder if they'll patch it and port it into the Spider-Man PC release. That might be interesting. And then Lilith shows up with Rhino, Demon Rhino, Demon Enchantress, I think, Demon Scarlet Witch possibly, and Demon Venom, who looks pretty cool. He looks pretty cool. But the real problem is Demon Hulk, of course. Demon Hulk is going to be a problem. Anyway, Midnight Suns might be out soon. Actually, it has a. Did it give a release date? Yeah, October, start of October. That's when it'll be out. And Cuphead showed off its DLC, eventually going to release at some point. Neon White, which might make its way onto the channel soon because it's out next week, maybe the week after. Neon White is a speedrunning game, basically. You're just given a bunch of different levels, a bunch of different options to go through that level. You got different guns. The guns you can either use to shoot with, because they're guns, or you can discard them for like parkour abilities, for like double jumps and dashes and that sort of thing. And it's, how efficiently can you get through the level, and the better you're at it, the more points you get, and you can use those for upgrades to get faster and so on. I like it. I like its deal, so we might see it at some point. Midnight Fight Express looks like every, super cool action movie you may have seen at any point in this time. Doom McCloom, how are you? How's it going, Sonny? I'm good. Just trying to whistle-stop tour of all the games that were announced this week. So this is from a solo developer, for the most part. They have had help to finish the game, basically, but for the most part, they developed it all by themselves. And it is like, you're kind of, 80s movie where there's one guy, one-man army just takes on everybody kind of thing. That's sort of what's happening here. So there's a lot of fast cuts, so we're not getting too much of how actual combat plays out. But yeah, it seems like a John Wick kind of thing, where you're just one guy against the whole army of guys, and it's just a fun time. Hopefully that will turn out okay. Some stuff about Warframe, but I don't play Warframe, so it makes no sense to me. Some stuff from the Genshin Impact people. They have other games, apparently. They're not making enough money from Genshin Impact, so they need more stuff. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Still need to watch John Wick. Yes, you do, Sonny. At least the first one. You can probably skip the rest of them. You can't find it anywhere. Can't find it anywhere online. I'm not sure where you would. Who owns the Fox? 20th Century Fox? Would it be Disney? So does Disney own John Wick? Disney Plus, maybe? I'm not sure. Shredder's Revenge was also shown off. Just a reminder that it's coming out soon, and also it is 6-player multiplayer, which is nuts. That is so many turtles on screen. There's only 4 turtles though, so they got to add 2 people. So they've added Casey Jones, and April O'Neil, and Splinter. 7 characters, 6 can play at once. A bunch of stuff about One Piece that I did not understand, so skip that. Soul Hackers trailer that was way too short, honestly. Metal Hellsinger. Is this a trailer or is it just the dev talking? I think it's a talking head trailer. Skip. Okay. Metal Hellsinger has a demo out now. That's what this trailer is mostly telling you, but it's a very interesting kind of game. So it's Doom, as you can see, pretty much. It's pretty much Doom or Serious Sam or any of those kind of games. But you can see that the reticle has a beat meter to it. So every time you fire on the beat, you do more damage. So the idea is you want to be firing perfectly on the beat every time. That's really hard to pull off because I've played the demo. It's a little difficult. Most of the weapons are a little difficult to go because I just want to fire as fast as possible. That's what I'm used to doing. But the shotgun is actually really good because the rhythm is almost built into it already because it's fire, cock the gun, fire, cock the gun, fire, and so on. So it's like the rhythm is already built into it. It pretty much fires as fast as it can anyway. But yeah, fun for people who have rhythm. I do not, as it turns out. What was after that? The Quarry is out soon, so I skipped the stream on Friday because I was not in a great mood, but we will be getting into that on Wednesday. Nightingale reminded people that it's a game. Saints Row has a demo for its character creator. So if you want to make some horrible homunculus in Saints Row, you can feel free to download that. Some Warhammer stuff I didn't understand. Bloober Team's next game is not Silent Hill. It's what everyone kind of assumed it was going to be, but it's not. It's Layers of Fears, which I guess is the sequel? Or no, there's a Layers of Fear 2 already. So Layers of Fears is the third game. Weird. Okay, anyway. Some Gotham Knights stuff. Click into the trailer, I suppose. I might as well. It's just basically just showing off a bunch of Nightwing gameplay. Nightwing likes to flip around a lot. Nightwing likes to flip around a lot and jump on top of people. That's what I've gotten from it. Yeah, I am planning to do a run through of the Arkham series at some point. Arkham Asylum, City, Night, not Origins. And then possibly roll into Gotham Knights after that, because the stories do line up. Even though they're trying to say that you don't need to know the story before you get into it, but you're gonna want to know where the fuck Batman is, right? Anyway. And then Summer Game Fest finished. Their big finisher was fucking The Last of Us Part 1 is getting a remake, and it's out soon. And it's like, wow. Great. A game that's already been remastered. It's not even 10 years old. That's what you spent all your time doing? You couldn't have done something else? Anyway, so that was Summer Games Fest. Then directly after that was Day of the Devs. Day of the Devs is an indie game showcase that is hosted by Double Fine and I Am 8-Bit. It's been going on for a good while, but it was always a local thing. It was always something you had to like show up to as a, it was like a PAX thing. But obviously this year it was digital only. So Time Flies is an interesting one because it is sort of a speedrunner flight sim kind of thing. You are a flight and you have a very limited amount of time to live. Your life is short, as it says. So the whole game is on a timer. You have about a minute and a half to complete a bunch of tasks and, find all sorts of different secrets and things you have. You have a little checklist of things you need to do. But yeah, it looks fun. It looks silly, and you don't have the music, but the music is appropriate. Planet of Lana got another trailer, but just kind of reminding you that it's a thing. It didn't show off anything new. Planet of Lana does look fun, though. I would really like to play it if it was going to come to a platform that I can actually play video games on. But yeah, it looks gorgeous, and this character, this little cat dust mite thing, is incredibly cute, and helps you out with puzzles, but it also has its own like little fears and little idiosyncrasies. Like there's a bit where you try to get it to get in the boat with you, and it's afraid of water, so you need to coax it in. Like here, like no, I don't want to get in the water. No, it's very cute. But yeah, it's I believe an Xbox exclusive, so I won't be playing it, but maybe somebody else will be playing it on the channel. Choo Choo Charles is horrible. Like, it's a fantastic concept for a game, but it's also a game I have no interest in ever playing. You are on a train. You are basically driving around this island to outfit your train with better weapons, better equipment, better armor, and so on, so you can take on Choo Choo Charles. Choo Choo Charles, as you can see, is some kind of horrible demon spider train. And the goal of the game is to kill Choo Choo Charles. But before you can actually really take him on, you need to gear up, because if you take him on too early, obviously he will kill you. So that's the idea with Choo Choo Charles. It looks fucking horrendous, and I'm never playing it. But a fun idea. Escape Academy is an interesting idea. It's a first-person escape room sim, basically. A little to the left is a kind of puzzle slash neat freaks kind of thing. It's like you're in a house, and the house is all disordered. Jesus Christ. Yes, that's right, Sonny. That train is fucking horrible. But it's like setting up a bunch of stuff to like make it all neat and tidy. But wouldn't you know it, you also own a cat. Nobody owns a cat, I suppose. But there's a cat in the house, and that cat doesn't want you to make things neat and will go out of its way to fuck it up. Basically, watch out for the cat. The cat will be annoying. Thomas the Tank Engine next level. That's it. That's what happens when the kids stop watching Thomas the Tank Engine. He turns into Charles. So yeah, that's a little to the left. It seems like it would be a nice what do you call it? Procrastination game. It's like I'm bored. Let me play something for like a minute. That'd be that. Bear and breakfast. You are a bear. You are running a bed and breakfast. Everyone is terrified of you because you're a bear. It's a pretty funny concept, honestly. Animal Well, I don't remember. Oh, I do. It's a puzzle game. It's a pixel art puzzle game. And while I have no particular interest in the game itself, what I did like is the way they are doing the particle effects, because pixel art games typically don't do this level of particle effects because it's very difficult to draw. So what I imagine is what's happening in the background is the particle effects are going on as normal, but there's a pixel filter on it. Is there a good shot of it here? No, not really. There's a bit where they're showing like a waterfall and it looks gorgeous, but it must have been in the developer deep dive or something. I don't remember Naiad. I don't remember Death either. Skim. Skim was, or is rather, is a kind of adventure game. You are a Skim, which is some kind of shadow entity thing that lives inside people's shadows, or it just lives in the shadows. And you can only move about through shadows. So you can't move about out in the sun or whatever. How you get from shadow to shadow without going into the sun? Not important, I guess. I guess you just can't touch the ground. I guess that's the way we're going with it. And the idea is you have lost, you've become unmoored from whatever item casts your shadow. So your person, the human being that you belong to, I guess, is gone. You need to find them, and you need to get back into their shadow for reasons that will become obvious, I guess, when you play the game. But otherwise, you're helping other people or helping other Skims find their shadows. You might see them in the game that there are, or in this video, that there are Skim in other shadows. It may not be apparent, actually, because the trailer goes pretty fast, but there are, and you're trying to help them find other items in the area that are casting a shadow, but there's no item attached to them. There's that kind of puzzle level to it. And the rest of it is just navigating the levels through the shadows. Interesting idea. Fox and Frog, Travelers, the Demon of Adashino Island is a very lengthy trailer, or is a very lengthy title because it's a Japanese game. That's why. But it looks cute and fun, even though it's meant to be a kind of somewhat horror, somewhat survival horror type thing. You are a frog and this fox person. You are... I forget why you're on the island now, but you're being chased by something anyway. There's this horrible mask thing that also chases you around at night, and if it catches you, it will eat you. So there's a bit of that to it. It was cute until that thing showed up, basically. Goodbye World, I think, is you are a game dev who's trying to make games in your downtime, and I'll just read the thing. Indie game about indie game creators created using pixel art, mimicking Super. No, that was the deal. The art style is very much like the GBA. Like it has the same letterbox, the same aspect ratio that the Game Boy Advance had. And you are trying to develop a game on the Game Boy, I think. And it's like a visual novel, but it has that kind of look to it that it appears like it's a Game Boy game. Birth is pretty grim. It's actually about trying to make friends when you move to a new city, and the game kind of takes it literally in that you make a friend. So you're like collecting pieces of people, like bones and organs and whatever else, to sort of create your own friend. Is the way the game works. But it's just basically a series of different morbid kind of puzzles. Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, which I think has nothing to do with the Pixar film. How to Say Goodbye is a game about ghosts trying to accept their recent death. It's a kind of grid puzzle game. Okay, so that was Day of the Devs. We're not done. We're about halfway through all the game fucking announcements this year, or this week. The Guerilla Collective. So the Guerilla Collective has nothing to do with Guerrilla, the game developer. It is uh, a collective of independent developers who got together to showcase their games because they weren't getting into E3 and such and such. And when the pandemic hit, they were very much not getting their games out and so on. So they decided to collect themselves. From Space is a twin stick shooter kind of thing. I am gonna actually start probably quickly going through these games now. I Was a Teenage Exo Colonist is an idea where you are on the first human colony ship, and you wind up on a new planet, and it's how you go about living your life. And I believe there's like multiple loops in your life, like you relive it a couple of times. Ugly looks like VVVVVV or however you're meant to pronounce that game, but like gorgeous. Boundary is a multiplayer shooter game that's set in like modern space. You have like big chunky astronaut suits and what have you. Alaloth Champions of the Four Kingdoms, I don't remember. I think it was a Diablo like. Daymare 1994. Actually, I will click on this one because I really like how it looks and how it's like it seems to want to be like a new over the shoulder resi, but it also looks clunky. It looks very, very clunky. So probably won't play it myself, but I get what they're going for, and if they can kind of clean it up, polish it, I might actually take a look at it, or a go of it, shall we say. This is the one I wanted to talk about though. Signalis. Signalis looks really, really good, and I really, really want to play it. So yeah, pixel art or pixel filter, more specifically. It definitely has a Resident Evil vibe to it, but it also has a kind of like really old school, like almost Alone in the Dark survival horror stuff to it. Spooky shit in space, as usual, because I really like spooky shit in space, and it turns out so do all of the games this year. It just looks really good. Like, I'm really digging the art style, the art direction. I'm really digging the presentation style of it. The combat looks interesting, and you have this like square to kind of show you who you're attacking. Yeah, like sign me up. End of October, so possibly a Halloween game. Gravewood High, I think they were just showing off the multiplayer update for it. Game I've never played, so I can't say much about that. Madison, there's no trailer in this article. Madison is a horror title. It's out next week. It has that kind of hyper-realistic PT look to it, where you are carrying around a Polaroid camera, and as you take pictures of things, you actually have to shake the Polaroid off. Kids, that's what they used to have to do when you wanted to get a photograph. You couldn't just have it on your phone. You had to take a picture, and then it would spit out the camera. It would spit out the picture, but then you would have to expose it to air and try to dry it off so that you could actually see what it looks like. But the way they use it in game is that it's used to like solve puzzles. It's used to time travel at one point, and in another place it's used as your only source of light, in that the flash of the Polaroid kind of shows you something very, very quickly, and then you can also use what you see in the Polaroid to sort of see where you're going. And you may or may not see a monster in the dark when you do that. The Fridge is Red is a really weird, I don't know, it feels like a satirical horror game. I'm not sure. Industria, you could almost confuse for a Fallout game. Like, it almost looks like it's Fallout. Just from this first person, everything is all dingy, everything looks like it's all post-apocalypse kind of thing. But I guess they're going more for like industry rather than like nuclear meltdown. They're going for like industrial collapse or something like that. But we got robots and we got guns and it's first person. Yeah, we'll give it a shot whenever it comes out. Never mind, it's out now. I think it's out now on PC. I don't think it's out on console yet. I'll have to check that. This War of Mine has the final cut came out a couple of weeks ago. They're just reminding people about that. The Last Worker is a narrative kind of. It's a bit like Firewatch in but you are the last human worker in a largely automated factory. And perhaps people have forgotten about you. Slope Crashers looks like a return to like arcade-style snowboarding games, which is welcome. SSX is a very good game. Cassette Beasts is kind of like Digimon, Pokemon, but you can mash up animals together, or beasts, cassette beasts. It would be like taking Charizard and Pikachu and making a Charachu or a Pikazard or something like that. You know, it's that kind of thing. Contract Killer is a side-scrolling beat 'em up. It didn't really wow me, to be honest. Rightmouse or Ritmos. I think it's a line connecting puzzle game. Shredder's Revenge showed up again. Like a lot of games show up multiple times in these. Scald Against the Black Priory. I think it's a Castlevania-like. I honestly don't remember it. Bloodsucker Anti-Terror Squad, don't remember it. Arkanoids, the fucking Brick Breaker game, is just getting a ridiculous Battle Royale thing for some reason. 9 Years of Shadows looked pretty cool, so this is like a Castlevania type thing. But it's got a really cool art style, and it's got a character type that I always like, but you don't see very much, which is a female knight with giant halberd. It's like, I saw it in Soul Calibur once, and I was like, wow, I really like that. Show me more of that. And you just didn't see it again, and now you've seen it again. So yeah, I'll absolutely be playing this game. But it is like Castlevania, but you have, it's got a bit more of Metroid to it than Castlevania, because you are swapping armors a lot to be able to navigate different areas of the map, which is definitely more of a Metroid thing than a Castlevania thing. But Castlevania, because the combat is like such. So you got water armor, you've got earth armor, you got fire armor at some point, and so on. So yes, very much looking forward to playing that. Yeah, WrestleQuest was an interesting one because it's like an RPG. It's like a turn-based RPG, but with like the 80s wrestling characters. So like Macho Man Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, you know, what the fuck were they called? Hawk and Animal wasn't his name, I forget now. Anyway, the old, like Sergeant Slaughter, those kind of guys, like the old 80s wrestlers in a turn-based RPG, which is kind of hilarious. Big montage of a lot of games showed off. Greedventory is an interesting idea. It's pretty funny. It is kind of a fighter type game. A lot of the combat seems like it's one-on-one stuff, but the funny part of it is that you are equipped with absolutely everything in your inventory. So if you have like 4 swords, you're equipped with all the swords. If you're carrying like 2 helmets, you have all of those. Any rings you have in your inventory, you have all the rings on. You know, you're wearing all the armor, etc. You have a really small inventory space, as you can see, but you're wearing all of it, basically. This is the funny part. So you're just using up all of your stuff in one go, and I just think that's very funny. So yeah, we'll see how that game turns out. Keylocker, I think, was like a rhythm-based cyberpunk game. Symphony of War looked like an RTS. I don't remember a lot of these games. I think I zoned out at this point because there were so many fucking games. No. It's, shit, I don't remember a lot of these now. Frogun looked like an old mascot platformer, basically. Open? No? You don't want to? Thinking about it? Okay. Where you are this person with the hard hat, and you have a gun that is also a frog, or a frog that is also a gun, and it is a grappling hook, basically. So it sticks out its tongue, sticks to things, and then pulls you in. And that's like the basis of it. But it does have that like an old school platforming feel to it, but with a ridiculous frog grappling gun. I don't know. I thought it looks fun. It looks cute. Future. It's Flat Eye. Flat Eye was like a management sim for like. It's like you are running like a future refueling station or petrol station or something like that. So you're like setting up things for like food, for like showers for people to take, parking areas, that people can buy their groceries there and that kind of thing. So it's like managing that kind of station, I think. Club. There was one more I wanted to show. I just forget where. I forget which fucking showcase it was on. Shashingo looks interesting. It's an interesting idea. Just think of Duolingo, but it's an actual game. So you take pictures of things, and it will translate it for you in these games. So it's like basically going around like your typical Japanese city, taking pictures of things, and then trying to learn what they are in Japanese. So it translates it for you, and maybe eventually, osmosis, you might actually start picking up terms and phrases and things like that. It has a mode where it will just give you the Japanese word for something and just tell you to go find it. So take a picture of this, whatever word it is in Japanese, and go look for it, kind of thing. So interesting concept. How well it will work, how well you will remember things, and not just keep taking pictures until you get the right answer. We don't know how long that goes. Then we had the Wholesome Games Direct. So again, I will have to pretty much just skip through a lot of these games. So the Wholesome Games Direct was a response to a lot of the game showcases just having, like heavy action, lots of Twitch shooters, like lots of blood and violence or whatever. So the Wholesome Games Direct was like, hey, let's have a nice chill showcase where we just show off cute, fun games, basically. So Lumberjack is you are a lumberjack who is also a bear, and you are trying to recover the environment from Evil Corp, who is setting up like logging facilities and generally polluting the place and stuff like that. It's also out right now if you wanted to give it a shot. I think it's out on Switch and something, Switch and PC, and I think that's it. I'm not sure. Little Bear Chef didn't show off any gameplay. Shit. I want to get back to that. I want to keep that page open. So let me control click on this. Did they show off a trailer? Okay, no, this is just a snippet of it. But you are a tiny little bear who may or may not be like a maple syrup or a honey bottle thing in a very big, like proper kitchen. So you're needing to like pick up individual ingredients and carry them over into the pan and actually jump on the pan handle to get it to flip stuff and things like that. It looks very fun. What else was there? Solitaire is solitaire, but with like a visual novel thing wrapped around it, and there's got a bit of like tarot and like fortune telling to it as well. Usagishima is an island of rabbits, and you're basically you got to catch them all kind of thing, of just find all the rabbits and take care of them, which is like fun and cute. Lots of bear games. Yeah, bears are in this year. I don't know why. How's it going, Doom Train Inc? Petit Island or Pet It Island, whatever way you want to look at it. It's a good name. Snufkin was getting a lot of press actually because it was in a lot of different. It was in a lot of different showcases. They have their trailer. Okay, good. So you may or may not be familiar with the Moomin, who were a French, I think, kids character. And then Snufkin is like this vagabond who kind of shows up in the stories every now and then, and he's like a pretty well known or well liked character, I think, in France. I'm not sure. There's a different tune. There's an entire company now. So Moomin. So this game is about Snufkin specifically, but the Moomin do show up, and I think he's just there to kind of help them out and go about his daily life. But as you can see, the art style is pretty nice. It's pretty cozy looking, and it is, working off a well-known characters for some people, at least. Moomin, I only became aware of Moomin in my adult life, so not in my childhood. Oh, it's Finnish. Sorry, it was French. Sorry, Sonny. I thought Moomin were French. I guess they're not. Potion Permit. Do you guys have a trailer, or is it just a Steam page? It's just a Steam page. screen. Okay. Created by Tove Jansson in 1940s. Okay. 1940s. Old as fuck. Anyway, it's a well-known I know the character, even though I thought it was from France. Potion Permit, it looks a bit like, or you can think of it as a Stardew Valley type thing, but you are a wandering pharmacist, chemist, doctor person, making poultices and making potions for people to kind of cure them of their ills, but also getting to know everybody who lives there and, making a life for yourself and that kind of thing. I really liked what I saw of it anyway. That's also making noise, so I can't hear anything. Is the music still playing? Yes, it is. Okay. 30 Birds is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a game where you have to go locate 30 different birds. It's also a visual novel type thing. Spirit and Mouse is you are a mouse going about your business, but you're also trying to, I think, help. You're trying to help people in their daily life, but you're like a mouse or a rat, and people don't want to be around a rat, so you're kind of trying to have to do it from the shadows, kind of thing. But it's cute. Great stealth action from the rat, electrocuting yourself. But you can see different spirits, and can help out the city while you're at it. Okay, Ultimate Toad Ollie Frog. Looked like Ultimate Ollie Frog Toad Skater is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater kind of thing. Only it's a frog, more or less. Having to skip through some of these. Just picking out the ones that really, really stood out to me is Frogman again. These and How to Say Goodbye showed up again. A Little to the Left showed up again. The Wandering Village is a kind of interesting one because you are basically on a village on the back of this giant creature that's just wandering about. So you are both doing the kind of farming, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley thing, trying to keep your farm together, but also you're on the back of this giant creature who needs tending to. Because that creature is trying to walk you through this desolate, barren wasteland, and they need to be cared for. So you also have a veterinary team who have to be sent out to sort of take care of this big creature. So again, another interesting concept. Do you ever make your way down onto the bottom? Probably not. I wouldn't think so. I'd say the gameplay is confined to this upper area. But again, it's an interesting idea, and I think the idea is to keep your village together, keep the creature alive until you reach whatever the end point is. And I guess the different areas you come through, different environments can have different effects on your village. Maybe they act as like different seasons and things like that. But yeah, interesting concept as well. Where was that? Wandering Village. Coffee Talk 2. Coffee Talk 1 was a fun visual novel thing where kind of like elves and orcs and different things would, exist in the modern world, and they come in to like grab a coffee and have chats with people, and you were basically just the barista, mostly eavesdropping on people. Skim showed up again. Garden Inn showed up again. New Little Gator game. It looks like, again, like an old school mascot platformer kind of thing. Definitely one I wanted to show off. I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember what the fucking thing was called. Ooblets has been coming out forever, but I think it is actually going to finally come out this year. I get a full screen on this. So Ooblets started off as a kind of Pokemon idea in that you would collect these different weird characters and have them fight each other, but it eventually changed to it being they would have dance-offs instead. So you'd have this whole group of tiny little characters following you around. It still has the Stardew Valley thing of farming and, you know, setting up your village and getting to know everybody. But then you also have dance battles with your dance team of ooblets. And yeah, I don't know. The game has been coming out for like 1,000,000 years. So it might come out at some point. God, there's a lot of games here. I think a lot of these were in a sizzle reel. That's why I don't remember half of them. Maybe it wasn't in this. It must have been in the next. It must have been in Future Game Show then. Okay. Right, Future Game Show. Moving on. Again, a lot of showcases this week. This isn't even all of them. Like, there was another one that I forgot. I just straight up forgot the name of. So Future Game Show, hosted by Games Radar. Again, I will skip through a lot of these. Ludo looks like a pretty creepy horror game. 18s, kids, been warned. So yeah, it's like dealing with demons coming back from hell and ghosts and that kind of thing. But the really creepy thing is that you have all of these people that are always covered or draped in like old cheap ghost costumes, basically. But it's really creepy when it's like super realistic. Hang on, that's actually a good. Well, you've missed the jump scare now, but you know, he kind of tumbles out of the corner here. It's a ghost, like a proper ghost, I guess. It's not a person in a sheet kind of thing. And you have trips to hell and that kind of thing. I am absolutely glossing over a lot of that trailer, but yes. Nightingale got a fairly lengthy explanation, and that it feels like it's actually going to be more of a No Man's Sky deal than like a survival game. Quali had a very short montage of a couple of games, and there was one in particular I wanted to show because it looked very Bushido Blade. It's called Die by the Blade here, sir. So yeah, it looks very Bushido Blade because it's all one-hit kills, very close in. It's not all one-hit kills. You can kill people in one hit, like in Bushido Blade. But otherwise it is a weapon combat fighter thing, which we haven't seen in a very, very long time. I haven't seen since Bushido Blade, basically. Scathe is a Doom-like, more or less. And Robo Beat, I think, is a Hellsinger type, only it's all you know, electronic house music kind of thing. What the fuck is it called? I don't know. My brain is melted. Well, different games I'm having to look at. Morbid Metal also looked interesting. This is a solo developer where you are toggling between 4 different character types in what appears to be a kind of. It's like a dark Soulsy combat. There's a little bit of DMC combat to it as well. We get into the actual combat sections. So you're swapping between different character types. You've got like heavy weapons guy. You've got like katana, speedy kind of person. And then you've got a ranged weapon attack. And the 4th one. Apparently there's 4. I only ever saw 3. But apparently there are 4. I'm not sure what number 4 does. But you're swapping between a lot of different ones. It's meant to be a roguelike kind of thing, so I'm guessing combat is difficult. You're probably going to die very often. But yeah, interesting and definitely impressive from a solo developer. Turbo Golf Racing is you pretty much Rocket League, but golf. So you're all racing to get you're always racing to get your ball in the hole before everybody else. As I said, American Arcadia got a much lengthier trailer here where it showed off how the game will actually play. So you're getting this kind of side-scrolling perspective, trying to help this guy escape. Which you also have more first-person options where you are trying to figure out a way to loop video, like in Speed. Spoilers for Speed. You know, is that kind of thing. So you're trying to figure out, what camera is this? What camera am I looking at? Is it that camera? Is it the camera around the corner? That kind of thing. So it shows off a bit of how that gameplay will actually work. Alaskan Truck Simulator is just Truck Simulator, but you're in Alaska. The Entropy Center. The Entropy Center is like a time traveling kind of thing, but you have a gun that talks back to you and is very cheeky. And I really, really like it. But it's got a bit of Prey going on. It's got a bit of Portal going on as well. And it looks really, really pretty. And And the idea behind it is the entropy, the energy that you're building up, is your brain. The energy your brain is using to solve puzzles is their conceit for why there are so many puzzles in the game, basically, which is a pretty funny way to look at it. But yeah, something happens, the sun explodes, Earth is destroyed, and you need to fix it by solving puzzles. Don't think about it too hard. But your gun is a cheeky little shit, and that's funny. Brewmaster is, if you ever wanted a very in-depth brewing your own beer simulator, there you go. Do Not Open is a VR title, which I know Doom Training loves VR titles. He very famously has said he loves VR and wants more of it to be out there. That's absolutely not true. Anyway, it's a very very realistic, not realistic, but like high fidelity is what I'm trying to say. Horror title. It's got a bit of PT going on, but then it's got, you know, creepy kids seeing ghosts, and you can't see the ghosts. And wow, that trailer actually shows very little. I don't know, they went into a lot more of it in the actual showcase. Last Faith, really cool looking, like a pixel art Bloodborne, more or less. Yeah, so just think of it that way. Just think of it Bloodborne, but now it's side-scrolling and it's pixel art, and you've pretty much got the idea. And we will definitely be playing this game. I'm hoping it comes out on something I can actually play it on. But yeah, it's got, I mean, it does on the surface look like it's probably like a Castlevania type thing, but no, it's combat-wise, from what I've seen from other gameplay, it's very much a Bloodborne type thing. Did it say what it's coming to, or is it just PC? Oh, coming on everything. Cool. So we should be able to play that. Slander. Sorry, Doom Training. Okay. Team 17 showed off a bunch of games. I forget. I think there was one in particular that looked interesting, but I legitimately forget if it was. Oh yeah, Taimisha. Because we will be having a look at this on the channel when it comes out. So it's coming out soon enough. It's a bit of a Dark Souls-y like kind of thing, but it has a lot more speed to it. So it's probably a bit more like Neo, really. Plus you're a weird looking plague doctor, so that's always fun. Autopsy Simulator, I don't know if it's meant to be a horror game, honestly. But it goes very deep into autopsy stuff, like having to do the Y incision and scooping out all horrible organs and try to find out how people died and so on. Unliving Sunday Gold. Some people are really interested in this. It's got a bit of a Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels kind of feel to it. It's a turn-based combat kind of thing, but I wasn't blown away by it, to be honest. Sweet Transit, I don't understand. Looks like it's a SimCity kind of thing. That's Batora. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Looks like it's a horror game. Anyway. That was Team 17. Tinykin is Pikmin, basically. Airport Simulator, if you really want to. You can simulate being at an airport. Arctic Awakening looks like Firewatch in the Arctic. You have this orb robot who is like your therapy bot, and they're there to like help you adjust to like life, more or less, and they like talk you through things and whatever. And there's like there's some pretty funny back and forth between the two your character and the orb bot. Where he's like, are you can you do anything? Can you like light stuff on fire? Can you like heavy lift things or anything like that? And he's like, I can help you talk through things. It's like, great, you're very useful. I don't know, it seems like it'll be a pretty funny one. Formula 1 Manager, if you're into that kind of thing. Planet of Lana showing up again. Deadly Premonition 2 is on PC now, or it's on Switch. No, it's on Steam. Snufkin showed up again. Ill, that's the one. Now, if anyone is of weak disposition for gore and that kind of thing, you might not want to watch this trailer, because it is pretty heavy on the old body horror gross shit. We don't know what kind of game this is going to be, because this is just a CG kind of showing off the vibe of the whole thing, but there's a lot of The Thing in this, like disgusting body horror, bodies behaving in ways they probably shouldn't. definitely go see your doctor if any of this stuff appears on your body. But you do have the first-person shootery type thing. You do have a gun, so it's got a bit of Resident Evil 7. And then a horrible crab thing. Gross. Yeah, ill. That's how I feel. Certainly how I feel after watching that. And then I think that was it. They just did the sizzle reel and then that was the end of it. Yeah. So that was all of the showcases. Almost all, and there was one more, but I forget what it was called. But it was mostly the same game showing up again. But there were some updates outside of all those showcases. Even outside of all those showcases, there were more things to show off. So this is Project M, which is probably a working title from a Korean developer, NCSoft, and it looks like a Quantic Dream kind of thing, like Detroit or Heavy Rain or something like that, with the kind of QTE stuff. And also it has a Hellraiser puzzle box for some reason. We're going to skip through this a little bit, but there seems to be some time travel stuff, and they're showing off a bit of their performance capture stuff as well. But yeah, it looks really, really good. Like, really well presented. There's a lot of Detroit Become Human there, even in the UI. So it'd be interesting to see, how that plays out. What happens? Do they actually localize the game? Will obviously be a big thing as well, because I do not understand Korean. And then Evil West. I think I showed this off a while ago. Evil West has its release date now. It's coming out in September at some point, end of September, I think. Evil West is a kind of... think of it as a Wild West Devil May Cry with guns kind of thing. Skip to actual gameplay. And vampires. Don't forget about vampires. So Wild West vampires, but also like very fast-paced combat. So you've got juggles, you've got different combos, you've got aerial attacks. There's... Devil May Cry probably isn't the best comparison, but it's definitely more fast. Let's say it's a lot more fast-paced than like Souls or something like that. There's definitely more of a focus on combos, speed, basically. But yeah, that is coming out September 20th. Yeah, end of September. That's what I thought. Okay. However, despite having all of those, all having great video game announcements, we can all be hype about all that. Unfortunately, it is now time to talk about the worst part of the video games, the video game industry. So, Microsoft Kinect creator Alex Kipman resigns after being accused of watching VR porn at work and also of being incredibly inappropriate towards female employees. So, Alex Kipman resigning from the company after 21 years due to numerous misconduct allegations. Accusations include inappropriate touching of female employees and also the VR porn thing. You may or may not know him from the Kinect. He was lead developer for that. And then after the Kinect bombed, he was put over to the HoloLens, which is also not doing particularly great. Behind the scenes, Kipman was said to have fostered a difficult environment for the people working alongside him. Managers even warned others not to leave women alone with Kipman. What the fuck? Anyway, Kipman was also part of a Insider the publication, previously detailed where he was one of Microsoft's Golden Boys, a group of corporate leaders who have contributed to a toxic culture of harassment and abuse at the massive tech company. Where have we heard this before? What company are Microsoft about to buy where we've heard this exact thing from? And why perhaps them buying this company mightn't actually change anything? Anyway, Microsoft did not say why, or more specifically, they didn't say he was let go because of this. In fact, he wasn't let go. He resigned. Kipman will leave the company to pursue other interests. That was their pretty standard company line. But yeah, Microsoft in the process of acquiring Activision, who have also had the exact same allegations leveled at all of their upper executive suite. Yeah, I'm just saying Microsoft probably won't change much there. And then in kind of weird news, I guess, the Grammys are adding a new video game soundtrack category. Just the one, though. He's just going to go watch more VR porn. I mean, no one can actually see him do it now. So the VR porn thing was that he was like working on the HoloLens thing, and he booted up a video that arguably was porn. It was like an incredibly sexualized pillow fight. Apparently, is how it was put. Um, and the HoloLens can both, or a lot of VR headsets actually, can have you looking in the headset and also have it displayed outside on a TV. So I guess that was the issue there. But the inappropriate touching of female employees, and also managers like specifically saying don't leave female employees alone with him, is probably the worst part, really. But anyway, Grammys adding a video game soundtrack category. So they are adding a couple of new categories, but one of them will be the best score soundtrack for video games and other interactive media. So while, yes, we should be celebrating video game music, I really do take umbrage, I guess, with the idea that it gets lumped into just one category. It's like, let's throw all of the video game music into one category, you know? I guess they do the same thing for like film soundtracks. You know, they throw all film soundtracks just into the best film score thing, which has always been kind of bullshit. There's so many different styles, like every style of music, every genre of music, there's a genre of video game music for it. You know, it's extremely belittling to just be thrown into one category, but I guess at least there's some celebration outside of the video game industry for video game music. I guess it's there. You can't really be too pissed off about it, but a little bit. It's like, I wouldn't lump in something from, I don't know, something like Devil May Cry music and Final Fantasy music. You know, they're not the same. They're very much not the same genre, and lumping them in the same category feels silly. Automaka, it's like having one best animated feature category in the Oscars. Yes, same thing. They lump in the Pixar with like anime, Pokemon films or whatever. Or, you know, World Cinema. World Cinema gets its own category, and they're, you know, throwing in films from Japan and then from Brazil and then from Prague or something like that, you know? I realize Prague is a city and not a country. Don't at me. Anyway, yeah, this is basically a failure of the categorization rather than anything else. But, you know, whatever. It's a step. It could be a better step, but it's a step. Okay, the last thing we're going to look at, and it's last because this is a very lengthy article and I'm not going through the whole thing, but Kotaku have a report here of the behind the scenes of Fallout 76's launch and development. And shock, it was very poorly managed. I'm sure you're all, you know, shocked Pikachu face right here. So a quote from one former developer, which is what I'll just leave you with. No one wanted to be on that project because it ate people. It destroyed people. The amount of people who would go to that project and then would just quit Bethesda was quite high. So yeah, you can imagine how well the rest of that report goes. It is a fairly lengthy report, like, it goes on for a good while. So the link is in the description. On the other hand, you could just, you know, Kotaku Fallout 76 report. I'm sure you'll find it in Google. Do give it a read. It is both illuminating and also kind of, shock. I knew that was going to happen. Anyway, we'll finish off with something stupid. So Diablo Immortal is massively pay to win, as I said last week, but is hilariously illustrated by a fairly obnoxious Twitch streamer. But anyway, spends $6,000 or 10,000 New Zealand dollars on Diablo Immortal and gets no 5-star gems. Gets like basically nothing. So there you go. That calculation that you needed to spend $110,000 to fully upgrade a character in Diablo Immortal. That's the minimum, assuming you get a 5-star gem every single time you pull from the loot crate. Which, from this example, seems doesn't happen very often, because the loot crates are $25 each in New Zealand dollars, and he spent more than 10,000 and got 0 5-star gems. He seems happy about it. I don't know how much this guy fucking makes that he can just, you know, spend nothing. But yeah, he does seem pretty happy about it, and the Twitter video is pretty obnoxious, to be honest. I will not be watching his channel. But yeah, it's just a ridiculous highlight that you get fucking nothing. So yes, do not... Well, I'm not going to tell you not to play the game. That's up to you if you want to do it or not, but just saying. Putting your name, logging into it, tells Blizzard that people want to play this kind of thing. Just saying. Okay. I didn't even look at new releases this week. The Quarry. That was it. There's pretty much nothing else, so don't worry about it. There's far too many fucking games out, that's the issue. Alright, what will I leave it on? What's a trailer, a good trailer to look at to close out? Oh, The Quarry. I'll just put it on that. There we go. That was helpful. Next Summer Game Fest. They had their own trailer for it anyway. Cool. Anyway, that was the news for June 6th to June 12th, 2022. At time of broadcast, I have not seen the Xbox showcase. The Xbox and Bethesda one is on later today at 6 p.m. my time, Irish time. We will be streaming it, so feel free to come back, have a look at it, and I will look at all the games that I will have to lament that I can't play because I don't own an Xbox or a decent PC. Potentially, we'll be looking at a lengthy Starfield presentation. That's what people are assuming, since it's still meant to come out at the end of this year. Release date might get pushed back. I have a feeling like it will. I have a feeling like it did. I couldn't sworn that it was pushed back, but anyway. I'm not going to do a recap of all the games that we showed there because there's just fucking way too many of them. Links will be in the paste bin in the description. On the other hand, you can always just type in Summer Game Fest 2022 into Google. I'm sure you'll pick up all that stuff there. The Quarry, as we're showing here, we will be looking at on Wednesday. It will be replacing 2064 Read-Only Memories as we finished that last week, so it's the new Foley Fable. We'll be replacing that. Wednesday, we will be continuing Xenoblade Chronicles. So we've finally going to go into Prison Island and, actually progress the story for a change. And Tuesday, we need to decide, is it going to be Bayonetta or Vampire? So I have my coin. I have my Vampire coin, which is like a skull guy in a knight helmet. And we have the Bayonetta side, which is like a youthful warrior princess kind of thing. So it was Vampire last week, so 50-50, right? It's 50-50 every time. So I guess we'll see. It's Bayonetta. Bayonetta this week. All right, 50-50. It's still 50-50. Very good. All right, so Bayonetta on Tuesday. We'll be continuing that. The Quarry on Wednesday, part 1, because I didn't play it last week because I was feeling like shit. And Saturday, Xenoblade Chronicles part 5, I think. We'll have a look at that. Feel free to come back at 6. We'll take a look at the Xbox Showcase, Xbox and Bethesda Showcase, showing off Starfield, Redfall, Avowed, probably Forza, maybe a bit of Halo, and then some of their new indie titles. Hellblade 2, we'll probably have a look at that. Maybe something about Replaced. They were meant to have a trailer for Summer Games Fest, but it didn't work out, so they might have one for the Xbox Showcase instead. Anyway, there'll be a lot of stuff to check out there. Otherwise, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of your Sunday, the rest of my Sunday, as I get some dinner into me before I come back for the Xbox and then the PC gaming show, which I won't be streaming, but I will be watching. Anyway, cool. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and see you later, hopefully. Bye-bye.